Hey, good morning, people. It is Tuesday, December 10th, and I am Ross Cessna from Daily Tarot Readings by Ross Cessna, coming at you live from Spiritual Phoenix Studios in Girard, Ohio. This isn't one of the types of shows where I pull free cards for people, although I am live. This is one of the ones where I just have a couple cards that I pull and see how it lines up for the general collective. If you're new to my channel, I would appreciate it if you're on YouTube to like and subscribe. Pretty much anywhere where you can subscribe. If you're on Facebook, share this. Just spread the love, people, because I put a lot of effort into bringing this to you, and hopefully it helps you and helps other people. That being said, we're going to get into our first card. So the Lover's card comes up right off the rip. Now, a lot of times people take the Lover's card as romantic love or things of that nature, and it can be love and union. The other thing that it can be, though, is vice or virtue. So when you look at it this way, the vice or virtue aspect is kind of asking you, where are you going to put your energy? Are you going to invest it in creating something meaningful and deep, or are you going to pursue this endless pleasure? And if you look in regards to relationships in modern culture, there tends to be this deviation towards the vice of instant gratification and hookup culture. Whereas the cultivation of virtue in this would be taking a while to actually build a healthy foundation for a relationship, getting to really know these people on an intimate level, and building something meaningful and sustainable. Now, another further look at this is if you look at the Devil card, which is 15, or the Fractured 6, it is one person who wants to kind of be the focal point of the relationship. So the Devil card would be codependency, addiction, and somewhat deviation. So that is another way to think of the vice aspect of it versus the virtue aspect of it. The other big thing about the Lover's card is the concept of self-love. So there's what's called personal alchemy, or the alchemical wedding. And in my understanding, that's when you're unifying the masculine and feminine energy to create this conduit that reaches up to a higher level. And I think that this card in particular does a good job showing that, because it has this traditional type of wedding where they literally are tying the knot, and it's on top of this tree, so it's firmly rooted, but there's also this aspect of it reaching up higher and expanding and radiating out. And that kind of is what happens with the alchemical wedding. When we unify both energies, and all of us have access to both of them, it's just whether we acknowledge it or not. When we unify both of these energies, we are able to connect to a higher level of being, and also continue that growth and radiate outwards. So I think I cleared that up pretty much. We're going to move on to the next card. So the next card that comes up is the Moon. I like to think of the Moon as subconscious, the shadow work, some things underneath the surface that need attention. Because if you look, there's the water there. Water is a symbol of emotions. The Moon is this light and the darkness. Darkness is kind of the unconscious or subconscious. The light is obviously some form of illumination. So it's this beginning to understand that we need to look at certain aspects of things. And the other big thing here, too, is the cyclical nature of the Moon, where it says that part of the whole process of personal development. Hey, what's up? How you doing? I can't pronounce your name, so I don't want to butcher it. But one of the big things about personal development is understanding that we have these periods of darkness prior to this deeper illumination that comes along with it. A more traditional meaning of the Moon, though, is illusion and fear. So sometimes on our path to virtue, we have some fears about what we're pursuing, and we have some fears about how we're showing up By the way, to my fellow on Facebook who is watching this, if you could please share this in a group or two, I'd really appreciate it. And the aspect of fear, honestly, pursuing virtues or pursuing a very meaningful and deep experience that makes you cultivate personal development is somewhat intimidating, because we have this sense that we're going to be missing out. In reality, we're not missing out on anything. We actually get to have a way healthier, happier life. It's postponing instant gratification for a life way better than we could have imagined. And if you really ever want to get to the Lover's card, so much of the Lover's card is about that. And I think that I've covered the moon aspect well enough. I'm going to move on to the next card. And it's the Death card in reverse. So I always like to think of death as this transformation, this change that's, how do I want to put this? Unpleasant, but necessary. And the way that I like to perceive the reversal aspect of this is clinging on to a situation that's long past due. So looking at all of these cards in combination would say that in either a romantic relationship or in the context of just pursuing the virtue and vice, there's been something we need to let go of for a long time. It's been under the surface, but it's becoming more and more apparent to our consciousness that we need to make some different choices and take some different actions. And while we've been resisting it, it's coming to the point where we can no longer ignore it, and that we need to take full responsibility and awareness for it and make different choices. And given that all of these cards are major arcana, this is on a deeply personal and internal level. And these, the double-digit cards, are like this even higher embodiment and this deeper personal journey. Like, if you're seeing this, you're probably in a deep state of transition and change, and it's really about deciding if you want to pursue the path of instant gratification and vice, or if you want to pursue the long road to virtue. And these choices will have big implications, and I don't throw that around lightly. So I'm going to do what's called a quintessence card, and then I'm going to hop off of here. I will be pulling cards for people later for about 30 minutes outside of doing these types of readings. And if you want, you can leave me a donation. As you can see, I have a little donation ticker up there. Every little bit helps. I'm trying to make $1,000 this month just off of my card reading. So if you could contribute via the link in the description, I would greatly appreciate that. Also, subscribe, share, like. But the quintessence card here for everybody. So we have 6 and 18. That is 24. 24 plus 13 is 37. 37 reduced. So you do 3 plus 7 is 10. That's the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is really about karma and destiny pushing you forward and bringing you to this place where you have the opportunity to receive some great gift or great benefit, but it doesn't come without risk. If I had the Wheel of Fortune card up here, consider like the game Wheel of Fortune, I guess is the best way to describe it, which is obviously based off this. There's benefits and there's penalties that come along with it. But if you're not playing it, you don't have the opportunity to gain any of the rewards. But if you're taking more of the opportunities, if you're taking more virtuous actions, I would say, it doesn't necessarily increase your likelihood of getting a positive outcome from the Wheel of Fortune, because you can still get really unpleasant circumstances. What it does increase, though, is your ability to take any outcome that you get and turn it into a positive, which is infinitely more important than just wanting good results. And I think that that's incredibly overlooked, and the necessity and the importance of it. So I hope that that makes sense to everybody. Just the quick recap of everything. So you have the choice of vice or virtue in love or in life in general. I'm going to lead more towards the life in general because most of the major arcana is about the personal journey. But it's going to require, to sort out the vice or virtue, it's going to require some self-reflection and really processing some aspects of your unconscious or your subconscious. And you're going to have to let go of some of these behaviors that you've been holding on to for a long time or haven't been addressing because the time is long overdue. And then the final aspect of all of this, the quintessence card for this, would be the Wheel of Fortune. And again, that's really about the ability to pursue your destiny. And ultimately, if you're on the path of virtue, making no matter what comes up for you on that Wheel of Fortune work in your favor. The final thing that I want to say is if we reduce that quintessence card one more time, you get one, the Magician. And the Magician is this powerful force of action that's capable of creating whatever they want. And that's actually what the Wheel of Fortune is in its purest form. We create our destiny and our future by the choices and actions that we take. So if you don't like the results that you're getting in life, it's time to take different actions. And if you're saying, I always do the right thing and the world craps on me, I'm going to tell you straight up, you might need to relook at how you're doing things, because I've had that attitude at times in my life, and then in hindsight, having a different understanding and more self-awareness, it wasn't necessarily true. It was true from that level of perception, though. So anyhow, again, like, share this video, donate to that little fund up there if you're willing, with the link in the description. If you're on YouTube, you can subscribe via the little mushroom thing down at the bottom of the right screen. Click that, hit subscribe, boom, you'll see all my other videos, and I'll be back on later to bring you live cards for whoever is on at the time. Stay blessed, people. Peace.